Hello everyone, and thank you so much for clicking on my video, and make sure to subscribe for more K-drama recaps, reviews, and reactions. And make sure to like and share this video with your other K-drama loving fans. And without further ado, let's get into my recap and thoughts of episode 6 of the Korean drama Run On. So what happened in episode 6 of Run On, and what do I think of the series and characters so far? Episode 6 doesn't start exactly where we left off in episode 5, but instead seen Se-Kyung starting to get in his new groove of being unemployed, stopping himself from going for his morning runs and going back to bed. Later we see he's obviously just been lounging around the hotel room all day and he looks really depressed. He's obviously very, very lost right now, and I am definitely feeling for his character. And later in the episode, we see a flashback of Se-Kyung when he's in the hospital after his shoulder surgery and him being all alone and by himself and really feeling that loneliness, and you definitely see him experiencing that. We see his father interfering once again in his life, trying to keep his son's reputation on the up and up, since you know it affects his political aspirations. And now that the news and the real story has come out about Woo-shik and Se-Kyung's involvement in that, he is called to meet with the athletic board where they decide to only suspend him for 6 months. And we as viewers hear them talk about Woo-shik and how they are kind of not expecting to see him again, and that he probably made the best choice of deciding to leave the team for good and that he should stay gone. They are obviously very upset that Woo-shik spoke out and even mentioned this in the hearing with Se-Kyung, calling Woo-shik a whistleblower, and he asks them why they would call him that when he was just speaking his mind. He also immediately asks, after they've given him their ruling, if the ruling is fair and that he's not actually receiving special treatment. And of course, when he starts arguing with the committee about this and over what one of them said about Woo-shik, Se-Kyung decides it's just not even worth it anymore and chooses this opportunity to officially retire. Now, he did not get his father's permission to retire, and this bites him in the butt later. And we also find out that his sister has decided to switch agencies, and that wasn't approved by daddy either. So both of his kids are sort of trying to escape his clutches, and he is none too happy about that. So he's officially unemployed, and he now also needs to find a new place to stay, since reporters have found out where he's staying, and when he goes back to the hotel, they're all there pretty much bothering the front desk, trying to find out what room he's in. Because he doesn't want to inconvenience anyone or the people at the hotel, he tells the reporters he'll be leaving after tonight, so don't come back to the hotel. He also finally gets in touch with Woo-shik, who says he's very sorry for everything that happened, but all Se-Kyung cares about is that he's okay, and even offers to put him and his grandmother up in a hotel, since he knows that if the press is following him, they're probably hounding Woo-shik and his family members as well. So, of course, you know, Se-Kyung is a saint, so of course he's gonna offer that, even with everything else going on. We then see Miju at the local cafe thinking about Se-Kyung when he comes to her place after he found out about Woo-shik. They also make note that she is not wearing the same colored slippers as she runs outside. So obviously she cares very much for Se-Kyung, enough that she really needed to get all the supplies and just didn't care what colored shoes she was wearing. To note. She gets caught daydreaming in the cafe about Se-Kyung by Donna, who sees her and walks over, which Miju is not wanting or having. Donna doesn't help the situation either, because she immediately starts grilling her about if she'd seen Se-Kyung the other night when the article went out. And instead of telling her, she asks Donna why she told her that she had been the last person Se-Kyung had liked. She's just been dying to know ever since she found out. Donna doesn't seem affected to me by Miju's tone or attitude, but is more amused with her. So she starts laughing when she finds out that Miju thought they were in some sort of love triangle with Se-Kyung. Through the whole conversation, Donna just finds how upset Miju is amusing, and as she goes to order more coffee, she asks the owner about the new large painting up on the wall that she's been eyeing, and asks asks if she can buy it like she did the other one. The owner explains that she can't really sell it since the painter just gave it to her for free. So if she wants the painting, she's gonna have to contact the artist directly about either paying for that painting or having them make a new one for her. Since she knows who the artist is, she eventually reaches out to Younghwa about buying the painting. He refuses to sell, and then she mentions that she wants it to hang it in a very popular museum, because once he hears the name, he's immediately like, oh, it's for a museum? Yes, of course you can take the painting. Whoever's painting, it gets hung up in this gallery at this museum, they get a lot of recognition and they can sell their paintings for more. So he's really needing to say yes to this opportunity. He also tells her that he was just playing hard to get and was gonna say yes eventually anyway, but he just didn't want to seem desperate or something. Now, the whole reason she wants the painting is because she wants to take down her half-brother's one that he had put up in the gallery to replace her previous painting. We hear this conversation when she goes home to have dinner with her family. While still at the cafe, we see Donna is there to actually meet with Se-Kyung, where he decides to end their working relationship and tells her that he's officially retired from the track team and takes the cancellation contract that she also brought. Now, as he goes to sit down, Miju sees him and tries to wave, and of course he doesn't see it. And because Donna knows that Miju is right behind him and is pretty much listening to everything that he's saying, when he tells her about how he has to leave the hotel and has nowhere to go, because Donna knows that Miju is right behind him and is listening, she starts kind of flirting and touching Se-Kyung to get a rise out of her, and even offers to let Se-Kyung live with her. And this is what causes Miju to snap. When she hears this, she like leaps out of her chair and is like, I have a bedroom that you can use. And they have this sort of bidding war, trying to sort of make their places look more appealing to Se-Kyung. And the funniest thing is he's sort of like, why do I have to choose between these two? What's going on here? He's just utterly baffled by the whole situation. He, of course, says no thank you. Now, obviously, Donna did this on purpose to get a rise out of Miju, and also that since Se-Kyung is no longer her client anymore, she tells Miju that she needs to take care of him, and then just drives off. So Donna obviously really cares about Se-Kyung. They seem like they've been friends for a very long time. As Miju is standing outside cursing out Donna for once again getting her, Se-Kyung comes out, and Miju immediately asks him if he and Donna had ever dated, and he states plainly no. So pretty much Donna has been messing with Miju this whole time because she knew that she liked Se-Kyung and was just trying to get a rise out of her and was succeeding every time. As they talk and he helps bring in posters to Park May, her roommate's office, which is right next to this cafe/coffee shop, Miju asks her if Se-Kyung can stay with them, where she immediately goes to tell him in a very worried tone that there is supposedly a predator or someone targeting women and mugging and attacking them. And oh, we happen to have 3 rooms. And that's how she's like, you should come stay with us. The plan doesn't fully work. He does say no thank you, but he does end up patrolling the neighborhood before he actually moves in with them, because he believes that there is a person targeting women in their neighborhood and wants to make sure that they're safe. The next day, we see him running and wandering around, taking stock of his new life. He even considers getting a pet as he feeds a stray cat that he randomly meets. He also meets back up with the school principal, who wants to re-offer the coaching job now that the new article has come out about Woo Shik. But he declines the offer, but says that he will work to find someone to replace him. He ends up trying to find his first coach and works through the episode to locate that person. And then him and Miju go and look for her towards the end of the episode. We then see Se-Kyung parked randomly on a side street with his blinkers, and then out by Miju's place. He then appears and is there when she comes home. She sees him, asks what's going on, did somebody hurt you? what happened. And he says he's out patrolling the neighborhood for the person that, you know, might be out attacking women, and that he checked out of the hotel and he doesn't really know what to do. So Miju asks him once again, do you want to stay at my place? The offer still stands. And he finally agrees. Because, you know, they got 3 bedrooms. And he's going to get the biggest. But joke's on him, because that 3rd bedroom is the living room. So he had already slept in his room once before. A little awkward and, you know, weird. But when he comes to bring his stuff over and officially move in, he also brings the clothes he borrowed and wanted to make it very clear that he hadn't worn those clothes since the day he had to borrow them. He really wanted to emphasize that. As they're coming inside and Miju is taking everything out of her purse, including the gun, Se-Kyung comments on it and asks Miju how she got that gun, and that it must be more than just protection for her. So she tells the story how as a prop on a movie set and how, you know, she got it signed and all that stuff. So Se-Kyung is moved in now and sleeping on their couch, which Miju is pretty affected by. We see her struggling to focus on work and has a very funny fantasy that she's sort of playing out that her roommate's phone call snaps her out of. Her roommate calls to tell her that she's going to be working late. And this is when Miju tells her, hey, don't be shocked, but Se-Kyung's sleeping on her couch. And her roommate's like, right back at you. You don't be shocked either. Park May is not really all that affected by it, but obviously Miju, though trying to act cool about it, is affected by the fact that the guy that she likes is like just a bedroom away. Now that Se-Kyung is living with them, he probably thought that he was going to be getting more time with Miju, but nay, she is super busy with work and seems to work through the night. So he sees her at random times, mainly a little bit in the morning before she either goes back to work or sleep, but she seems to work a lot at night or just 24/7. There are some really sweet scenes of him cooking food for both of them, but her never coming out to eat because he doesn't really know her schedule yet, and him saving the food, then reheating it, and her coming out right when the food's being reheated, but instead of like going for that food, she eats some cereal and a bunch of vitamins, and like that's how she stays healthy. She's a freelancing hot mess, and I can totally relate. They start to get into a routine, and he teaches her how to run, and she gives him a tour of her bedroom/office and explains what she does for work and her very detailed schedule where she keeps everything in order. And he sweetly adds in between a few things that she has on the list to eat, you know, make sure to eat. And I think that he wants her to eat with him, which is sweet. There's also a really sweet scene where Se-Kyung goes to pick up Park May because it's late and he wants to drive her home in case the mugger targeting women is out and about. And he tells her that as long as he's living with them, he would like to come pick her up when she's working late. So she pretty much has a live-in chauffeur. And just to clear the air, she makes sure that he knows that she's asexual and that there's no possible love triangle going to happen between her and Miju and him. I mean, honestly, how can anyone not fall in love with Se-Kyung? The next day, while Se-Kyung is out at the local grocery store, he runs into Young-Hwa, who's also there grabbing some supplies. They end up grabbing the same milk, and Young-Hwa recognizes him from that one day that Se-Kyung took his drawing tube and threw it to knock that guy over. So he asks if he lives around there, and after Se-Kyung answers, just keeps walking next to him and sort of glancing over. This scene was really funny because Se-Kyung lets him walk beside him for quite a while before he finally asks, I'm sorry, do you know me or something? And this is when Young-Hwa reminds him, I'm the guy that you took the drawing tube from and threw. And this is what causes Se-Kyung to remember and is like, oh, well, you don't have your drawing tube today, so that's why I didn't recognize you. So after Se-Kyung recognizes Young-Hwa and they sort of strike up a quick conversation, when Se-Kyung does his little finger pointing thing, which I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, he does a lot of pointing. Young-Hwa's reaction to that is to touch his finger to Young-Hwa's finger. They both just stand there with their fingers touching, just sort of looking at the fingers touching, looking at each other, and Se-Kyung asking what all that is about, and Young-Hwa just being like, oh, I thought we were communicating like E.T., you know, fingers touching and feeling our emotions that way. And he makes the little sound effect, and you hear this Disney-esque music in the background. I think that music is supposed to lead us to the fact that there's probably some really funny bromance scenes in the horizon. I mean, they're both such weird people. They're probably gonna really get along, and I am looking forward to that. I am kind of disappointed that they waited to start this bromance until episode 6, but to me, that whole scene was a stroke of genius and so funny. We see a meeting between Young-Hwa and Donna after this, and before she meets with him, we see her exact revenge on her half-brother in the lobby of the main office after, you know, he hit her secretary. So she pretty much went to quickly exact some revenge on behalf of her secretary and to let him know the proper definition of what outing someone is, and tells him that he needs to get a little more educated if he's going to be running a global company, which he sheepishly explains kind of as she's walking away that he went to an Ivy League school. Her secretary, though, worried for her, I think appreciates that she stood up for him, and she's kind of like, look, you're my guy. If someone hurts you, I'm going to hurt him back. But I think he's also worried about what's going to happen if the chairman finds out. When meeting with Young-Hwa at her office, we see her other half-brother stalking her outside in his car, and even goes to find Young-Hwa's Instagram, where he realizes he's the artist whose painting is in his sister's office right now. The last part of this episode is Se-Kyung going to find his first coach who lives in a remote area and asking Mi-ju to come along with him. So they have a little day trip adventure, and after getting there, getting lost, finally finding her, and then Mi-ju getting drunk so that Se-Kyung doesn't have to drink as much, he tries to convince his coach to come back and help train these young track stars that he has promised to find a coach for. She says no, he pleads a little more. She's like, no, Mi-ju's just drunk as a skunk over there, trying her best to not ruin it. But the coach gets a little annoyed at her drunken behavior and kicks them both out. Mi-ju then just passes out in the car, and Se-Kyung tries to take care of her. And while she is pretty, you know, blacked out, she slurs that she wants him to like her. And even though she's probably not going to remember that she said that or what he says back, he tells her that he already does. Ah! And that's how they end the episode. I gotta say, I fall in love more and more with Se-Kyung's character every episode, and this one just loving him, hearts all around. I love him so much, and I am really enjoying the romance between him and Mi-ju and them living together and learning more about one another, and it's just really sweet. But I am a little more excited right now for the bromance that is brewing between Young-Hwa and Se-Kyung. I cannot wait for more scenes between those two. Super excited. I'm glad that they didn't make it overly dramatic when he moved in with the two women. Obviously, they're all adults and have had life experiences with the opposite sex, and I think that even though Mi-ju is affected by him being there because she's crushing on him, she's not like cowering in her bedroom like, oh my gosh, there's a boy in my living room. I'm glad they didn't do that sort of freak out spasness. I liked how they handled it. You know, she was like, I'm gonna be cool about this, but he's in my living room right now. I do wonder if there's going to be any funny, awkward scenes where Mi-ju or Park May see Se-Kyung coming out of the bathroom with no shirt on or something, or running in the bathroom and he's in there showering. I know that's dirty, but I mean, who doesn't want to see a shirtless Song-Kyung again? It's been a couple episodes. With that pervy comment, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments below what you're thinking of the show so far. Obviously, True Beauty has sort of got everyone's attention right now, but I'm still really enjoying this drama. There's other good dramas out there right now, and this is one of them. And also, let me know your favorite scene from this episode in the comments below. Obviously, mine was the little E.T. finger touching moment. I did find that the most interesting just because I had been seeing Song-Kyung constantly pointing at people, and I felt like that was kind of rude, but the way he did it, I was kind of like okay with it. It's just sort of his mannerism. But I like that Hyung-Hwa noticed that and his reaction was, oh, we're eating it. I see what's going on. I thought that was really adorable. So let me know if you had a favorite scene in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please, again, make sure to give it a like, give it a share. And if you're new here and like recap videos, please hit subscribe. I also do reaction videos, and I have playlists of both those types of videos down in the description below. And until next time, please stay safe out there, and I'll see you soon. Bye.